Hello, everyone. I'm Alex.
I'm Andy.
And today, on the next episode of Doing a Bracket, we're going to be doing an overlooked consoles bracket. If you're really upset about like the N-Gage not being here, we can always do more of these. If this gets to 50 likes, an N-Gage will get its wings.
This gets to 50 likes. We'll buy an N-Gage, the entire N-Gage library.
I almost said
the next year playing all those games.
I feel like the N-Gage might be like $1,000 or something. If the N-Gage is under $200, if this gets to 50 likes, I'll think about it and probably decide against it. For this list, we got 16 of the most overlooked, but there's still some potential in these hype consoles that I could think of.
Yeah, I feel like this is, I don't know the actual numbers. Like if you did this by like sales numbers, this is like a list of consoles that sold less than Nintendo consoles.
Yeah, I think the most on here is maybe like 14 million-ish. Like this is like probably like 100,000 to 10 million units sold-ish,
yeah,
I'd say.
I think that makes sense. So no Sony PlayStation 2s or Nintendo Wii's.
The Wii was overlooked. That's my hot take.
No Wii U.
No Wii U, because the Wii U could have made it on this list if it wasn't in the Nintendo bracket.
Right.
I don't know. We'll make many more Wii U videos in the future, though. Don't worry. We have them all in the works. We're planning them out. But yeah, without any further ado, I'd say let's get into this bracket. All right, like and subscribe and join our Patreon. The first matchup is the Neo Geo AVS versus the Wonderswan or Swan Crystal. I guess I think if we need to do like 3 more of these, we need to get into the nitty gritty. We'll say this is the Swan Crystal and we'll do just the Wonderswan or something. But for the sake of this video, I feel like let's just
yeah, that's fine.
You have a Swan Crystal, you can play all the Wonderswan games. They're all Digimon. And what do you have with the Neo Geo?
The Neo Geo is clearly the winner here because you had perfect arcade ports at home.
Mm.
Like every single arcade Neo Geo game you could play at home if you had this system that was well out of your price range then and definitely still out of your price range now.
Yeah, this is kind of like a battle of opposites in a funny way, where the Neo Geo was like, we're going to make like the maximum thing possible. We don't care if it's way too expensive and super like inconvenient. It's going to be the perfect experience. And the Wonderswan was like, what if like a watch could play a Digimon game?
Right.
And I love it for that.
What if the Game Boy only needed one battery?
Yeah, the Game Boy was too advanced, even though that came out like 10 years ago. Let's make something that's like a quarter of that. I do love the Wonderswan. It is a quirky little console. I've never played a Neo Geo AVS. I think it's going to be an uphill battle for me to say the Wonderswan should go on, as much as I do love it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, then we're putting Neo Geo forward.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
The next one is the Atari Jaguar versus the Sega Dreamcast.
The Jaguar is like one of the systems that it's like, it is so cool. Like everything about it like is cool except for the dumb controller. But like I wanted this system to be amazing. It could have been amazing. It was like Atari's comeback into the console foray. They were gonna like really bring it, but the console is horrible and the games are horrible. And I don't know. There's nothing. I feel like there's so little redeeming value in the Jaguar. And the Dreamcast has kind of become like a cult favorite, like Sega console. So
yeah.
I don't really think. I don't know if these two. I don't really think the Jaguar stands a chance against the Dreamcast.
Personally. Yeah. I mean, the Dreamcast, it is almost like in the same conversation as like the GameCube and stuff, which is like, tower. Not that I like the GameCube more than all of these consoles, but you know what I'm saying. It's just, it has way more of a legacy. The Jaguar to me is kind of like the N64's older, like edgy older brother in my mind, where it's like, I love the N64 for like how it does 3D. I've played it a ton and it's awesome. And the Jaguar is like, it kind of, I don't know, like the N64 got straight A's. The Jaguar's like been to jail a few times, but you still see like there's a good person within the Jaguar, like its version of Rayman.
Maybe
it has, I don't know. They both have chunky 3D that I like. For sure, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. Like for me, the Jaguar when I was growing up, this was like one of the first like mythical like items that it was like you saw it in the game magazines, but you never saw this anywhere. I didn't know anyone who owned it. I'd never played one until adulthood, but like I knew I wanted Alien versus Predator for this console, but there was no way I was ever going to get it. But I think when you like these games have been emulated, I mean, I've played some of them in real life, and I think everything that everyone said about the Jaguar is true. Is that the color palettes for all the games are just really bad, and the the games that are available on other systems are just vastly superior. The controller is just completely like, what in the world are you doing? Like, it's not like the N64 at least like was innovative.
Yeah.
The Atari Jaguar controller is just what the like. It actually reminded me of some really horrible 2600 like game that had like that came with like a weird like attachment Star Raider or something like that. Like it was just like it just feels like some executive was like, no, we don't need to invent a new controller. Let's just take some of those old things we had back then and like redo it all
and tape it to kind of a modern controller.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, the Dreamcast wins this round. Really, no contest. The Dreamcast is like definitely one of the favorites here. It's legendary and it has Seaman or whatever.
It does. Voiced by the late great Leonard Nimoy.
Yes, and none of these other consoles have that.
No,
except Japanese not. PS2, which isn't on this. Next matchup is a Sega showdown. The Sega Saturn versus Sega Game Gear.
I mean, this is kind of an interesting matchup because the Game Gear was kind of like ahead of its time in terms of like the colored screen and everything.
Yeah.
But I think the Saturn also I think I have the same argument that I had with Dreamcast. The Saturn is kind of a legendary console at this time, and the library of games is so much better than Game Gear. However, you can play Sonic the Hedgehog portable and other games portable. Joe Montana Football portable. I don't know. What do you think?
There's Dragon Crystal
portable.
Whatever that game is on the Game Gear. That's like a roguelike or whatever.
That's a great game.
The Game Gear does have some fun
portable
games. The Sega Saturn, I don't know. I do really like both these consoles. In my mind, Saturn is edging out the Game Gear a little bit. I don't know. I'm always going to have a thing for like handheld consoles. Like I said, with the Wonderswan and again with the Game Gear. I don't know. There's something charming about them. But once again, like with the Wonderswan's matchup, it's hard for me to argue that the Saturn is not the better console. Like, the Game Gear, I don't know. It has some good games in its library, but they're like almost like pleasant surprises, whereas the Saturn's library is like so mythical that you're like, oh, of course Panzer Dragoon Saga's on it, and it's like a super unique JRPG and there's nothing else like it, and it comes from the Panzer Dragoon series that was also on it, that's also amazing, and there's no Sonic game, but there is Sonic R.
Yeah.
And that's the Saturn, and that's why it moves on. And it has Puyo Puyo. Actually, the Game Gear does too.
Portable. All the Saturn fighting games for me are like what moves this forward to.
Yeah.
All right. Saturn.
Next up, this is a big one. The Neo Geo Pocket, we'll say color, versus the Turbographx 16, we'll say it includes the CD, just because.
I think the Turbographx is one of the most beautiful like retro consoles in terms of like the way the games look.
For sure.
Like every time I boot up a Turbographx game, I'm just always in awe of like what it looks like, and just the pixel graphics are just super beautiful. That being said, the Neo Geo Pocket, I mean, this was like one handheld I wish I had actually had as a kid or growing up, because I would have played the hell out of it. There's some really good games on it.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, like, both the Neo Geo consoles have a very consistent library of like well-made games. I have not played the Neo Geo Pocket Color, just a confession, let's get that out of the way.
What?
But idea of a handheld that's like almost fully dedicated to fighting games has always perplexed me a little bit, because who are you playing them with? Your friend does not have a Neo Geo Pocket Color. You're just going to play single player worse versions of fighting games?
No, it's the card battle game. The card battle game.
The card battle game. The card battle game. The card battle.
The portable card battle games are where it's at on this system.
Those are like RPGs?
No, they're like kind of.
Or like Mahjong.
They're like Pokemon battles, but with Capcom versus SNK characters.
Okay.
Good. You can download it on Switch.
Yeah. Are they in the collections at all?
I don't know if they're in the. I don't know. I have mine a la carte. I bought it a la carte, but it might be one of the a la carte. But it might be one of the a la carte. But it might be one of the a la carte. But it might be one of the a la carte.
The card battle game.
Yeah, I definitely don't think the fighting games on the Neo Geo Pocket are worth it, because there's not enough buttons.
Yeah. That too, also, yeah. But then, yeah, like you said, the TurboGrafx 16, I have the PC Engine, the Japanese version. It is one of the nicest looking consoles, and it's just like a I don't know, like a half step in between the NES and the SNES in a lot of ways, but also it does have its own identity, and it's really cool, and I think it wins over the Neo Geo Pocket Color.
Yeah, however they did the hardware, I don't remember. I've watched videos, but you're right. It's like in between like the 8-bit, 16-bit thing. And other people more knowledgeable than us can explain that. But the games are beautiful. And the Japanese console like is so cool.
Yeah, it's very small. It's fun.
Very small and fun.
All right. The next matchup is the Atari 7800 versus the Sega 32X.
Yeah. This is like a matchup of like complete like hopeless losers.
Yeah, basically. But they're charming. I don't know. I've never played a 7800. In my mind, it's just like nicer versions of 2600 games and a worse controller. Yeah, and that's the whole thing.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Okay, great.
I mean, I even think some of the games are not even better than some of the 2600 games. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't remember why, but this was like a huge. I mean, I think both of these consoles had a similar kind of path in terms of like being forced out onto the marketplace like too quickly or even at all, and like just executives not like reading the room or understanding anything that was happening. I think I would give the nod to the 32X just because I do think it is a better console, because I mean you can still play Genesis games on it.
That's true. So technically the entire Sega Genesis is included.
Right,
here.
exactly.
I'll say the 7800 seems a little more dignified than at least like the Jaguar was. Like, it seems like more of a earnest effort at making a console, and it seems like it's more of a real console than the Jaguar, which almost seems like a money laundering scheme. So I'll say that, and like I said, I haven't played the 7800, so I can't fully speak to it. The 32X, I don't even know. I got it before I had like a Wii, and somehow someone was just selling it on Facebook Marketplace. And I didn't there's no way at that time I even like understood what it was. I don't know how I came across it, basically. Very odd. So it has like kind of a mythical status to me. That being said, it also has kind of that feeling I get with the N64 of, wow, this 3D is impressive and how like bad it is, but but they're doing it. Like I don't know if you've played Shadow Squadron, I think the game is.
I haven't.
It's like a space shooter on the 32X. It's fully 3D, I mean,
yeah,
but in that style, and like it's a little slow, I'll say. It's not a game for everyone, but it is genuinely like a really cool thing seeing basically, I almost said 16-bit hardware, but obviously it's technically 32-bit, but it's like kind of your Sega Genesis is playing it, and it's like special. I don't know.
Yeah, I think there are some fun games on it. I think the Doom port is actually really good.
Yeah.
Obviously a lot of people have that opinion, but I've sat there and played through the whole game multiple times. And then I think Knuckles Chaotix is a really interesting Sonic entry. It's a very weird game that doesn't make any sense physics wise in my mind, but Calibri also not a super fun. That was a game that looked like, I saw the picture on the back of the box growing up on the 32X box, and I was like, oh, that'd be awesome. The 32 Xbox. And but that game didn't totally deliver, but there's like some really interesting things that were developed.
It's a tiny library, but and I'm not going to say like it punches hard, like all the games are great, but like Calibri, like I'm pretty sure that was the Echo the Dolphin guy. Like, they were trying to do cool stuff with a 32X. They just didn't support it enough, and it wasn't a good idea to begin with.
Yeah.
But also, like, it has like good versions of like Virtua Fighter, Virtua Racing.
Yeah,
both those games are sick.
Yeah, the Virtua Fighter, the 32X Virtua Fighter is actually really good, and a lot of people didn't have at the time. If you didn't have access to the Saturn version, like I mean, I guess maybe you didn't have access to the 32X version either, but I did for some reason.
Yeah.
The Saturn was still unattainable in the market I grew up in, and I had 32X Virtua Fighter, and I loved that game.
Yeah, sick. Okay, so I think the 32X definitely goes on.
Yeah, definitely.
It has two fans in us, but probably none other in a 50-mile radius. Next up is a battle of the handheld titans, the Atari Lynx versus the PS Vita, which almost wasn't in this video because I agree it is a little bit on the edge of what can be here, but I don't know. I think it sold like 15 million units or something.
Yeah, when you first had it on here, or I saw it on the list, I was like, that doesn't make any sense because the PSP is not on here. But I think if you're going by like units sold, it definitely didn't sell a lot, and I get why it's on here. And I think that makes sense. But I'm sure people are gonna be like, you can't have the PS Vita on this list, but I think the PS Vita is a much better console than the Atari Lynx. I know you like the Lynx.
I have to justify my purchase of it also by getting it at least in round 2. That's what I told the shareholders I would do. I said it would go at least one round in the bracket.
I mean, what's a good Lynx game? Like, what should I? Because all the games that I gravitated towards on it were just complete like garbage.
I mean, there's like Road Blasters. There's a surprising amount of like. I think it's the ultimate handheld device from that time for racing games, I'll say. Okay. And like combat racing. Chips Challenge is a cool puzzle game. It has a lot of good arcade conversions like Clax. I never played that until I got it on the Atari Lynx. It's cool. I don't know. It is like a good version of Miss Pac-Man. I know that's pretty exciting. Not, what does PS Vita have? God of War. We have Miss Pac-Man on the Lynx. But I don't know. It's cool. That's all I can say.
It is cool. I definitely think if I was going to own one Atari system at this point, it'd probably be the Lynx.
Yeah.
However, the PS Vita has the entire PS1 library on it and the entire PSP library on it and all the really cool JRPG Vita games. So I don't know.
I will say also, to my knowledge, you own 2 Atari consoles currently, and neither of them are the Lynx.
That is true.
So there's
I actually have. I think I have every Atari console except the Lynx.
Nice.
That wasn't my choice. They were foisted on to me.
Yeah.
I don't want them.
I don't know. I think the PS Vita is going to end up winning, but I think both of Sony's handheld consoles struggle from the fact that they kind of just feel like a worse version of Sony's current console. Like the PSP got so close to the PS2 that like you're just playing slightly shittier God of War on it. And the same thing with the PS Vita.
But there were standouts when like developers actually did something that level but unique to the system.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say Metal Gear Peace Walker, but that was a PSP game. The thing that's interesting to me about the Vita is it had a great reason to exist until this Nintendo Switch ported. Every single game that's ever been has been ported to the Switch, and I don't really understand why I should own a PS Vita now, unless I'm going to hack it or unless I'm going to play PS1 games on it.
Yeah. So the Lynx should move on because it has more of an identity even to this day.
Sure.
Sick. The shareholders are going to love this. Next up, this is a real contentious matchup. The Sega CD versus the ColecoVision by Coleco, I guess. I don't know who made it. Mattel or something? Jack Pacific?
Mattel made the Intellivision.
Lego?
I think Coleco made it.
Okay. I have played the ColecoVision, and I was impressed by it because I was like, it's kind of a 2600 and a half. Like, it is slightly better. I've never played a Sega CD, but I assume it wins because it's probably better.
Oh, yeah. Sega CD, hands down. I mean, I love the Sega CD, and there's a lot of really weird, interesting games on it. The ColecoVision is like, I don't even know how to describe it. I hate the ColecoVision. It's like, I wouldn't buy one if I was at a garage sale and there was one for $5, I wouldn't buy it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's almost good, I would say, but the 2600 outpaces it, whatever. Because of the controller, the ColecoVision has a crappy controller and like decent games. The 2600 just has a better controller. There's not really any reason to have the ColecoVision, but it is kind of cool. But yeah, the Sega CD wins because it has, I don't know, some JRPGs or something. There's no JRPGs on the ColecoVision, I can tell you that.
There are none.
There might not even be any puzzle games.
I mean, yeah, Lunar was first, appeared on the Sega CD, which is an insane game.
Night Trap.
But even like there was some really interesting like racing game, like the Batman Returns for Sega CD. You should play
just like a scene or something.
No. That is a killer driving game.
Okay.
You as a driving video game person, you should definitely play this game.
Okay.
The animated series Batman also is a really killer Batmobile driving game. The Amazing Spider-Man. The actual real version of that game, not the one that we got on Genesis. That's a killer game. Mm-hmm. Sonic CD. I don't know. There's some cool Sega CDs. I mean, there's definitely a lot of garbage and stuff that hasn't really aged well, but there's some good stuff on there. ColecoVision is just garbage. It was like it couldn't the Atari just so dominated it when it was around, and I can't give any love to the ColecoVision.
It's better than the Intellivision, I'll say that.
I will say that as well.
But it's worse than the Atari 2600, which was too popular for this list.
Correct.
We could also do like a mid-tier list that has every Xbox and every PlayStation on it. That's probably what would be next. But next in the matchup is the Master System versus the 3DO. Master System, I've never played the 3DO, and it is where Gex is from. That's really all it is, I think.
3DO is, again, it was like one of those mythical systems like back in the day that you saw in like magazines, but you never saw one. It kind of was similar to the Jaguar in a lot of ways. Allegedly, there's like some really good versions of games on it, but the controller, there's only one controller. Mm-hmm. But then you can daisy chain other controllers to it. I don't know. I've only played one player games on it. But you're really limited by how many buttons are on the controller. Road Rash for 3DO is actually one of the only games that actually really appealed to me in that it was different than all the other versions of Road Rash. But I don't know. It was like one of those systems that was just trying to do like CD stuff. Like there's a lot of like games with like
FMVs and
exactly
stuff.
Yeah. Master System I think is just, it's a classic at this point. There's some amazing games on that library. So I would definitely put the Master System ahead of the 3DO.
3DO, it's not even that fun to talk about, although I do like its logo. It's like it has like colors and shapes. I like colors and shapes.
It does.
All right. On to round 2. We have for the first matchup, it's the Neo Geo AVS versus the Dreamcast. It's the Dreamcast. It's a real console. The Neo Geo AVS is basically
that's
just
a real console.
How many games exist for it?
Oh my god, there's a ton.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought there was like 6.
No. It has a huge library. Does it? Yeah, the whole like the whole SNK library of games, and then there was a CD system for it. Like I'm telling you, there's a whole world. Like if you're an SNK like fanboy, then you would definitely put the Neo Geo in because there's like all the Metal Slugs, all the Sam shows, all the King of Fighters, all that stuff. It's all in there. Dreamcast is, as we mentioned before, it's legendary. It also has some amazing fighting games, some amazing weird one-off games, some really good RPGs. I mean, I think this is a tough one for me because I do love SNK games, but I would put the Dreamcast here. Okay. And I know that's what you're going to do too, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't know. The Neo Geo is cool. I've never seen one. I don't even know what one looks like. Like next round is a Sega Saturn versus the Turbographx 16.
I'm a Sega fanboy, so I'd probably put Saturn in, but if you include the Turbographx CD, which has Rondo of Blood on it,
which I think you can include it.
That's one of my favorite games of all time. So I don't know how I don't know what to do here.
I have the Ratio Man version of the Sega Saturn. It was from his shed.
I remember that.
It's hard because these are both systems I can't really play RPGs on at all. The Turbographx because I have the PC Engine and there just weren't a ton, and the Saturn because they're all $15,000. So both of them I am judging based off of platformers and puzzle games where I can't read any of the text, which obviously those are my comfort zone. I get the sense that I have an incomplete view of both these consoles in some ways.
Well, just looking at how the bracket is shaking out, if you don't want all Sega
in the
systems in the Final Four, then you got to put the Turbographx. I'm okay putting the Turbographx in. I think it is like in the spirit of this bracket, which is kind of like unsung, like overlooked consoles. Obviously, these are two well-known consoles, but I do think that the Turbographx is a little more understated than the Saturn when people look back at like retro games and stuff. So I'm okay putting Turbographx.
Yeah. These are definitely two of my favorite, probably my two favorite looking 2D machines out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Sega, the Saturn versus Dreamcast is kind of a lame final matchup. I don't know. We shouldn't decide on that though. We have to be true to ourselves.
Well, so the Turbographx, every single, like I emulate almost all those games because like you said, like it's really expensive to try to get all those. I mean, I've had Turbographx in the past. I've had some of the games, but what I find interesting is every single time I boot up a new Turbographx game that I've never heard of, I'm like, there's definitely stuff there that makes you want to play through at least some of it. Like every single game is really interesting in some way.
Yeah, we can go Turbographx here. Let's do it. I think I'm just used to your excitement of the Sega Saturn.
The Sega Saturn is one of my favorite consoles of all time. But in the spirit of this bracket.
And reflecting in my own life, I probably do like the TurboGrafx.
There's probably a video where we ranked stuff in I put the Sega Saturn all the way to number one.
You probably did. It's fine. But if you want to find that video to correct us, you better go watch every video we've ever made.
Yeah.
All right.
Tell me how wrong I am.
They'll do that part regardless. The next matchup for round 2 is the Sega 32X versus the Atari Lynx. Once again, I could go either way here.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say it's more of a stinker than the last matchup for sure.
Yeah, there's no way the 32X goes on to the Final Four when the Saturn didn't. But it was going up against the Lynx.
Yeah.
So...
And the Saturn went up against the TurboGrafx 16.
Right. So that's just poor, that's just bad luck on Saturn's part. Yeah, I think 32X... I don't know, man. These are horrible. This is a horrible matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I do like both these consoles, but yeah, I have to think about these after trying to figure out between the Saturn and the TurboGrafx 16. It is a different league. I don't know. I'd probably go 32X, but that's just because I've spent more time with it.
Yeah,
same. I think the Lynx, there probably is more in the Lynx world to enjoy, I think, than the 32X. So I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be okay putting the Lynx. Moving it ahead, just because also in the spirit of this bracket and this conversation, if you found a Lynx like out in the wild, then you should definitely pick one up. And
let's take that out of context of a video game. Video. You find
take
a
it
Lynx,
home with you.
Yeah, or a Jaguar.
Give it a good home.
If you see a Jaguar, pick it up.
Absolutely. Like the 32X, the library is so limited. And some of the games are kind of expensive. I just feel like you could get more mileage out of a Lynx than a 32X if you found
that is true. But also, you saying that, everyone thinks of the 32X as like a complete, just like crap machine that Sega just kind of farted out. I don't know what's all the poop is all about right now. Sorry about that. But like it's like just a garbage console that started Sega's downfall. And like never should have happened, and it has no games on it. All of those things are true, but it also does have some pretty cool stuff on it. Like the 32X I feel like is more hated than the Lynx is. The Lynx is just kind of overlooked, which I guess is the name of the bracket. I don't know. That's a strong argument for both of them in a way.
Well, I think people love, putting the 32X down, but every one of y'all would buy one if you saw it out in the wild.
We know
for like
$100. Yeah, that's exactly
somewhere.
how much I paid for mine.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd say I'd vote 32X, but if you really want to go Lynx, we can go Lynx.
Nah, 32X is fine. We can go 32X. I'm taking 32X all the way to the championship.
It's getting into the final round. I mean, honestly, it's matchup. Okay. It's a Sega CD versus the Master System. That's the final round. I go Master System just because I've never played a Sega CD.
I have like 2 Sega CDs upstairs right now. I feel like you should take one.
Okay. I mean, we could arrange that.
I mean, I know I was just like talking up the Sega CD library a minute ago, but it isn't that great. Like, there's still some janky stuff. Like, it was a weird era where, they were trying to do like Sega was also experimenting with some of the FMV stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
The whole like sound quality on the CD, which was complete nothingness, really. It was really expensive, where the Master System, I feel like, is just really... If Nintendo hadn't just been like the phenomenon that it was, the Master System really would have had more of a strong showing. I think the Master System. I would put the Master System ahead of the Sega CD.
Yeah. I mean, the Sega CD seems like a really cool experiment. The Master System is definitely more fleshed out overall, I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Okay, let's put that one forward, and we're on to the semifinals. Round 1 of the semifinals is the Sega Dreamcast versus the TurboGrafx 16. I probably like the TurboGrafx more, to be honest.
I feel like the Dreamcast is such a... Like, this conversation would have been so different, like, 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. Like, now the Dreamcast seems like not a very, like, controversial pick.
Yeah.
Or even... shouldn't be here at all because everyone now is on Team Dreamcast.
Yeah.
This is a tough one. One thing we haven't mentioned is the TurboGrafx. Also, there was the Turbo Express, which also played the same games.
Yeah.
Like, that was offering something that none of the other companies were offering back then.
Yeah.
In that, which I think is a really something to be highlighted. I don't know. I would do the TurboGrafx over the Dreamcast.
The TurboGrafx genuinely at the time was special. I don't know. The Dreamcast just seems like it's kind of like a logical... It's like a misstep into the 7th generation that was kind of Sega's swan song, and then they made really cool games for it. But the Turbographx is like a magical piece of hardware that was like forged in Mount Olympus or something, and it has bonk.
Yeah, all the bonk games are really good. Yeah, the hardware also is really solid. Like, we had gotten several not a ton of Turbographx in the stores, but every time one of them came in, they were always in really good condition.
Yeah.
They were really well made machines. Yeah, I'd be cool putting the Turbographx.
All right, I'd say let's do it.
Finals.
All respect to the Dreamcast, though. So Sega's representation in what?
Sorry, I was just going to say, the Turbographx, I think, will outlast the Dreamcast in terms of longevity from like a console conservation standpoint, because the optical drives on the Dreamcast, like mine, every time I play it, sounds worse and worse. It's going to die.
They were always loud.
They were always loud.
Yeah, but they're just
But the Turbographx is just like any of the cartridge-based stuff is just, it's going to be solid.
Yeah. The final round, which will determine Sega's representation in the finals. It'll either be the 32X or the Master System, the two Sega consoles we all knew might make it to the finals.
They were in a bad region.
Yeah, I think this
because these two consoles are way worse than the Dreamcast or the Saturn.
We did go through a few iterations of like shuffles, and I think we didn't see into the future enough to see that this was a little lopsided. That being said, I do have very fond like the Dreamcast and the Turbographx are like cool older people, and the 32X and the Master System are like my friends I grew up with. Not that I've grown up with any of these, but they're like, I play the 32X and the Master System more than I play the Dreamcast or the Turbographx, even if I respect those two consoles more. The 32X and the Master System, they'll get in the mud with me and stuff. I don't know which one I like more, though. That's honestly, it's hard. I'd say the 32X. No, that's crazy. The Master System's better.
It's hard because the games that I play on 32X are more playable than most Master System games.
Yeah.
But there are good Master System games that are better than some of the 32X games.
Yeah.
Like the Wonder Boy and all those.
Yeah.
I don't think you can say... I think 32X gets dinged because you need a Sega Genesis to play it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not its own thing. Like, I don't think you can go to the finals because of that.
That's fair. I mean, if I'm pretty torn between those two, so if we have to do that to choose a winner, I'll go with it. And I do love the Master System.
I do think the Master System is a very beautifully designed piece of hardware. Also,
that red stripe. Classy.
It's super cool. And a lot of people in America their first introduction to Sega was the Genesis, and so you didn't really see a lot of Master Systems around. But when the Genesis was becoming popular, and you started to hear about this old like 8-bit system that Sega had, I don't know, there was definitely like this like mystique around it that was cool, like back in the day. So I'm okay with putting it forward.
Sure. Okay. Cool. So our finals for the overlooked console bracket is the Turbographx 16 versus the Sega Master System. It was a weird journey, but I do kind of like this final matchup. Like we were kind of saying, the Saturn and the Dreamcast kind of have gotten their flowers, at least culturally, from the people in the know. The Master System is still kind of just overlooked as like, just play the NES. And then the Turbographx 16 is just like, I don't even know what the company that made it is still, and I own one.
NEC.
Okay. I'm trying to think of what that could stand for.
I don't know, but I think it stands for Nippon Electrical Company
or something. Okay, like that. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Nice. And I don't know what's
Tell us how stupid we are for not knowing that. I don't care.
But yeah, I don't know. Where do you go with this matchup?
Turbographx.
Okay.
I think the Master System is kind of getting dinged here for being in the 8-bit era and not the 16-bit era.
Yeah.
Like I think if you look at all the different generations, I know it seems like that wasn't that big of a leap because a lot of the games were just graphically better versions of the 8-bit ones that came before. That was a huge jump. And I think what game developers were able to do with that better hardware really kind of opened the doors for like all the things we love about console gaming. Like that's really where things like really started to get cooking with home consoles.
Yeah, and I think the Turbographx also benefits, like I said before, from kind of feeling a little magical. Although the Master System, it does have aura, as the kids would say, because it was in regular show, and that's cool. Like I don't know, like some like hip stoner cartoonist was like, the Master System is the console I want in my game. That makes it a little cooler.
All of these consoles are cool. Like if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have the privilege of having any one of these, they're definitely like really cool items to have in your collection.
For sure.
I mean, honestly, like if I could have any one of these, I would pick the Neo Geo AVS just because.
Yeah. I mean, you've kind of seen it all at this point. If I could only have one of these, we'd have to do a whole other video for me to decide. I don't know. It'd be the Game Gear, and I'll figure out. I'll regret that later. That's fine. But okay, yeah, we can go Turbographx. I think it's meant to be the winner of a bracket like this. I feel like almost, it is just like that ultimate like cult classic console in a lot of ways. I do love the Master System. It has Fantasy Zone, it has Wonder Boy, it has some, genuinely charming, really awesome 8-bit games. But yeah, I don't know. The Turbographx does have a little more magic in a lot of ways.
I mean, some of the most beautiful shoot 'em ups like I've ever seen.
Oh yeah,
are on that system. Like,
like Fantasy Zone 2.
So good, it's gorgeous.
You meant the Master System, right?
I know, I meant the Turbographx.
No, I know, I figured. Yeah, okay. So with that, the Turbographx 16 CD also included, and the PC Engine library also included, wins our Overlooked Consoles bracket. Let us know. Should we do more of these? Should we go to the more known consoles? Should we do all the Xboxes and PlayStations? Should we go to the even lesser known consoles? We're buying an N-Gage, confirmed. Let us know down in the console down below, the console section. Do you have anything to say to the fine people of Game Land?
No.